Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yoshai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yoshai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yoshai. Let's give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, great millstone, that taught us this word, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect across the planet Earth, pushing this truth in sincerity and in truth. Yeah, I just want to talk about, the missiles. I came across this interview on YouTube. Basically, it's from a guy named Art Bell, and basically he passed away in 2018, but he was a host of this radio show back in the day called Coast to Coast AM, and basically his major thing was like the paranormal and UFOs, and you always talk about stuff like that. And eventually, he moved on to this other show called Midnight in the Desert. He was like an independent broadcaster. He would broadcast out of his home, but he would have a lot of interesting little guests. Always talk about like Area 51 and the paranormal and stuff like that. But he did an episode with this scientist, or this Smith. They called his name is Stephen Starr, and basically he broke down the effects of an actual nuclear missile, or an attack, or a detonation of a missile. And he did the whole interview is good. I just want to play a little tidbits of it. But yeah.
What is the exact extent of the current global nuclear arsenal? And by the way, Professor, you don't have any classified information that you could mistakenly give away here, do you?
Oh no, it's not necessary to have that. Actually, the transparency is not what it should be. It's the people that provide the numbers that I'll give you are experts, and they have contacts, but the governments don't really readily give this out anymore. It's getting harder and harder to get very accurate information. But historically, we know that.
Yeah, so the government, they're not going to give out the actual numbers of the whole nuclear arsenal. They give out a number, but the scriptures also give a number.
Right about now, there's something between 15 and 16,000 intact nuclear weapons in the world in a global nuclear arsenal. And the U.S. and Russia probably have 15 out of the 16,000, let's say. And you mentioned that 93% in your opening. That's about right. So that's why it's so important to focus on the U.S. and Russia, because first of all, the country that comes in next is France with 300.
So yeah, they give their number, but the scriptures, they say differently. Just get that real quick. So here we go. Yeah, this is Revelation 9 and 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. I heard the number of them. That's talking about that nuclear, those nuclear missiles, man. So the scriptures are saying about 200 million. Now they're putting out 15,000. Somebody's lying. If you read up a verse. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men. Men are broken up into three parts. You have the sons of God, the sons of man, which are the other nations, and you have the sons of the wicked, which is Esau. And the number of the army of the horsemen, it's talking about the ICBMs, were 200,000. And I heard the number of them, so the scriptures talk about 200 million missiles are going to touch now. So let me just scroll up a little bit.
That we would starve to death. How does that happen?
Well, the mechanism is that nuclear weapons are really like a piece of the sun when they detonate. And this goes for the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima, which it was 15,000 tons of TNT explosive equivalent, to average, say, Russian strategic warhead that has 800,000 tons of TNT. That's what's normal today. But both of those will, when the fireball they create, the surface of that fireball is hotter than the surface of the sun. So what happens then, if that's detonated over or above a city, it will ignite everything within a radius. The 15 kiloton weapon sets 3 to 5 square miles on fire instantly. The 800 kiloton warhead will set 90 to 152 square miles on fire instantly. And all these, what happens is there's fire set over this whole area. It's a mass fire. And within 10 to 15 minutes, it coalesces. They all join together to form a single gigantic fire. In the center of the fire, there's like a chimney effect that rises up, and it creates hurricane-force winds that blow towards the center of the fire. So it'll actually be strong enough to uproot trees and pull into the fire. You can't.
It's strong enough to uproot trees. That destroying wind, man.
And anyone in the fire zone, in a matter of minutes, the air temperature is good above the boiling temperature of water. And we first saw a mass fire like this in Dresden and Hamburg and Stuttgart during World War II when the British firebombed the German cities.
Oh, yes.
They weren't even able to go into those cities for quite a few days in tracked vehicles. It was too hot. And even anybody that was in a deep shelter suffocated or baked, basically. It's horrible, but it's true. And so we firebombed Tokyo, for example, with conventional, fire bombs like napalm. 100,000 Japanese died in that raid. And then we went on to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Mm-hmm. So we basically crossed the moral threshold for blowing up, burning cities up. But so if you think about what a nuclear war is, if you think of like one 800 kiloton warhead with 150 square miles on fire, then you multiply that times hundreds or thousands, all within an hour space of time. All those fires create enormous amounts of smoke and soot. The scientists have predicted that a U.S.-Russian strategic nuclear war would produce somewhere between 50 and 180 million tons of smoke. And this smoke will quickly rise above cloud level, which means it can't be rained out. And once it gets into the stratosphere, there are high winds. In a matter of 10 to 14 days, that smoke will completely encircle the Earth and engulf the Earth in a global stratospheric smoke layer. And this layer will do two things. Basically, it absorbs and blocks the sunlight. By absorbing it, it heats up the stratosphere, which destroys the protective ozone layer. And by blocking that sun, it prevents warming sunlight from reaching the surface of the Earth. And that, in a matter of a week, will produce temperatures colder than they were at the height of the last ice age 18,000 years ago. And the end result is that for 1 to 3 years, the temperatures in central North America and Eurasia will be below freezing every day.
Yeah, so we mentioned, about 1,000 of those within 1 hour, would produce 180 million tons of smoke. So the Lord said it only take him 1 hour, to destroy this whole place, man. So this thing is very real, man. The day of the Lord. Yeah, this is Jeremiah 51:1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I'll raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. And I will send unto Babylon fanners. They shall fan her, and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Destroying wind. He said it was like a hurricane level type of wind in the midst. He said it produces like a chimney effect in the midst of that fire. It would set whole cities on fire instantly, man. So yeah, just like with Malachi, Malachi 4:1, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. And he basically described, that. One warhead, when you split that atom, becomes hotter than the surface of the sun. It's that elements, melting with fervent heat, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. In the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, and that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Yeah, it says, behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, man. Basically, he described an oven, worse than an oven, man. With all that smoke, it's going to block out the sun. It's Isaiah 13:9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light, and the sun shall be darkened in this going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. He says, a mixture of only like 1,000 of those warheads, man, will create a cloud, 180 million tons of smoke and soot. That mushroom cloud too. That's gonna block out the sun, man. It's gonna be a dark day, man. The day of the Lord, man. The day of the Lord is darkness and not light, And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Yeah, that pride, that's going to go out the window. That pride spirit that Esau has, man. All these nations, man, it's going to go out the window, when these missiles touch down. And I'll make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Yeah, the purest gold, man. He's talking about the elect. Because the only way you're going to survive this destruction is, a man of the Lord, man. It's being with the man of the Lord for these women out here, man. And also, before the destruction, the time of Jacob's trouble that's coming, as well as that hour of temptation, man. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, in the day of his fierce anger. Yeah, man, he's going to shake the heavens. Scripture talking about the earth's going to reel to and fro like a drunkard, man. A mighty earthquake, and 200 million missiles touch down on the surface of this world, man. It's going to be a bad day, man. It's a Joel 2:1. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. You can see that, man, with these prophecies. We know that the day of the Lord is near, man. It's near. As I said, a day of darkness and gloominess. Man, you got millions of tons of smoke and soot going into the atmosphere, man. It's going to be a gloomy, dark day, man. A day of clouds, a day of thick darkness. As the morning spread above the mountains, a great people and a strong. There have not been ever the like, neither shall there be any more after it, even to the years of many generations, man. So we have never seen a day like that before. He goes into Hiroshima and Nagasaki a little bit, but when these nuclear missiles, man, touch down, man, it's going to be nothing compared to that. Compared to, that destruction he was talking about, man.
The earth, and that in a matter of a week will produce temperatures colder than they were at the height of the last ice age, a stratospheric smoke layer. It's true, and so we firebomb Tokyo, for example, engulf the earth in a global engulf the earth. The scientists have predicted that a U.S.-Russian strategic nuclear war would produce somewhere between 50 and 180 million tons of smoke. And this smoke will quickly rise above cloud level, which means it can't be rained out. And once it gets into the stratosphere, there are high winds. In a matter of 10 to 14 days, that smoke will completely encircle the earth and engulf the earth in a global stratospheric smoke layer. And this layer will do two things. It absorbs and blocks the sunlight, By absorbing it, it heats up the stratosphere, which destroys the protective ozone layer. And by blocking that sun, it prevents warming sunlight from reaching the surface of the Earth.
So yeah, it's a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, man. Yeah, jumping down to verse 3. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, nothing shall escape them, man. So these missiles are going to do, just that. Fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. He says entire cities are going to instantly catch on fire, man. One warhead. I forgot the radius, the mile radius, but whole cities are going to be taken out, man. Yeah, Zephaniah 1:14. The great day of the Lord is near, it hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty men shall cry there bitterly, man. And that's before the destruction, man. The mighty men, all this hell that's coming to this place, man. The destruction of the whole earth. Well, these mighty men are going to cry there bitterly here, man. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, man. A day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against thy towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as dung. So all this time of Jacob's trouble, hour of temptation, ultimate destruction, really for the Israelites, man. Because they have sinned against the Lord, man. The Lord's got 1,000 years to get these other nations, man. So Jake got to deal with this one last butt kicking, bro. Before the kingdom comes. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he will make even a speedy riddance all them that dwell in the land. The Lord said, it's going to take 1 hour to destroy this place, man. The whole land. Scriptures talk about the 10th part of the city fell, man. So a whole land mass is going to be destroyed, man. And other places on the planet Earth as well. The last scripture, Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars fall from heaven. That's the missiles. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. But this is what we're waiting on, man. This is what we're looking forward to. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power, great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven unto the other. Yeah, so that's why, we look forward to this day. The Christians, they don't understand the day of the Lord, But, the hopeful elect, they understand, and they look forward to it. Why? Because immediately after that, that's when the Lord's coming, or right before that destruction. The Lord's coming to deliver his elect, so they're not going to get caught up in that fire, that lake of fire. And then it says, the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. It's talking about them chariots. This cloud is talking about the chariots. The Lord's going to come back in a large chariot, also known as a cloud, man, with power and great glory. And he's going to send his angels, to gather the elect across the four corners of the earth, man. Because you got elect members all over the planet. But the main deliverance is going to be right here, in America. The star shall fall from heaven, man. That's, yeah, the missiles, man. Yeah, I just wanted to, do a video on this little interview. You can watch the whole thing. The whole interview is good. It goes into the radiation and all that's going to come from it, which is going to, make the waters bitter, and all that. But you can watch the whole interview on Art Bell on Periscope on YouTube. But with that, shalom.